All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We are doing episode number 9 of Robinhood Weekly on a Saturday, first time for all of us. But we're going to be going through Robinhood's Q4 2024 preview of our earnings expectations. And I think we have a couple other topics, but that's going to be the majority of the show. And that's what we'll be getting into. Tanner, Roy, what's up?
Good to be here. Sorry that Tanner was late again, and that's why we're starting late, but you know what happens.
I think you guys, whenever you do solo streams, you blame being late on me.
Absolutely.
I should start doing that. That's actually a phenomenal idea.
Sorry, it was Tanner.
It was something.
No, I was here on time, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let them confuse you. Yeah, I'm excited to talk some Robinhood. I'm excited to see their earnings call. Like, I think that's going to be really interesting, just the statistics, everything like this. But we're obviously going to get into that. But this is going to be one of the most exciting fintech names that we're going to see this quarter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess before we get into the numbers, let's do a quick little segment on that. So earnings call is now in video. Here's Vlad talking about it, and then we'll give our thoughts on that.
I wanted to tell you, first of all, we love our retail investor community. We got some feedback on prior earnings calls that maybe they were a little bit dry. They could be a little bit more engaging to listen to. And we took that very seriously. And so I'd love to announce that we're doing a live video earnings call for the very first time. So you'll be able to see Jason and I and also Chris in the flesh, updating you on the state of the business and also answering some live questions. So that'll be live streaming on X, on YouTube, and of course on our investor site at investors.robinhood.com. February 12th afternoon. Hopefully see you all there. Hey everyone, Vlad here. I wanted to tell you, first of all.
right.
So what do you think?
It's awesome. It adds another layer. I love Palantir's earnings calls, not just because it's an awesome company and Carp's great and it's entertaining, but actually being able to see a lot of communication is nonverbal. And so it's just great to actually see that. And I hope more companies do that. But I think it's a really good fit for Robinhood. Like culturally, the way that they function, we talked about this last time, they're very similar to Palantir. So it's hard for me to see, especially after the success that they had with their events this last year, that this won't be received as anything other than awesome.
Yeah, I think, I'm looking forward to a, we did it moment from Vlad Tenev reaching out to the camera and
That's great.
Celebrating that we're 50 plus now. He might not be brought to tears as much as other CEOs might be, but I'm very excited for more video conferences. It's crazy that, investor relations is just going like these calls are going straight to YouTube. Obviously Google's been doing that for a while. They own the platform. But the fact that a bunch of other companies are going onto X and onto YouTube is very exciting. And I think it just brings into perspective, like, not only are we covering these companies very closely, but I think retail, because self-directed investing is becoming so popular, is becoming more mainstream.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great idea. Makes sense. Earnings calls are boring. If you're a company like Robinhood that is in the consumer space, you've got obviously consumers, retail investors watching. I mean, tens of thousands of people are starting to care about Robinhood pretty deeply, especially as obviously the stock goes up, people get more excited, but in general, their execution. So I think this is the next step of them making their earnings more mature and just more fun in general. And again, I didn't expect Vlad to kind of sit back and let other companies innovate on earnings calls because he's so competitive. So I'm happy they're doing it and excited for it.
And it should add about 2 cents EPS too. No, just kidding. but it is really the other part of layer is that it makes it more accessible for a lot of people that maybe are newer to the markets. It's a very different experience listening to a pretty dry earnings call that's just using old technology versus like actually being able to see and engage and watch anytime. Right where it's at. It's on YouTube. So anything that they can do just to be more accessible for retail, like that's a great thing.
Yep. I'm going to start eventually transitioning into some numbers.
So we can do that right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get the numbers. Okay, so I'll kick it off to you. What is your earnings projections, Tanner, based on some of the numbers that you've done? Or you can take whatever you want to take it.
Yeah, I sort of said this before, and I'll just say it again. But essentially, the way that I got these numbers was taking the equity, crypto, and options volumes, taking a similar take rate to what they had last quarter, a small bump in crypto, but not as bullish as some people that I've seen. That gets us a transaction-based revenue of $617 million. Okay. On the what do you call it? Interest side, net interest side. Let me find that really quickly. I took a different approach, looked at what I believe is going to be the assets under custody of 210 billion, applied the same take rate there, and got $420 million. So after contra revenue, after adding those things up, we're looking at just right around $1 billion of net income for Q4 of 2024.
Not net income, but revenue.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
A billion of net income, sign me up.
Yeah. At
Around
100% margin.
Yeah.
At net, sorry, I meant. Did I say net income? I thought I said net revenue.
Oh, you said net income. That's why I perked up. I was like, oh, got $1 billion of profit? Wow. There you go.
I'm pretty sure I didn't even misspeak there. I think I said net revenue.
How much you want to bet? I'll bet you $100 right now.
No.
Come on, let's do it, dude. Do a bet. It's
Maybe I said it. I don't know.
It's $100.
There's no advance contract on Robinhood for this. Otherwise, it would be a legit bet. So
Yeah. No, I might have said it. I'm not that confident. You said net income. All right. I'll take it. Oh, people are saying okay. No. Everyone's agreeing. I said net income.
You should have cheered him on, bro. You would have taken the bet. Like, come on, admits being stupid, bro. Just take the bet. Like,
so yeah, about $1 billion of net revenue after contra revenue, and then looking at. So the only thing I haven't done yet, and I can probably just take this out. I just need to find their diluted share count is get their EPS. But
so hold on. While you're doing that, let me go through my revenues because I have a different number. I have 649 million for transactions, and I have 296 million for net interest. And then for other revenues like gold subscriptions, I just kept it the same at 44 million. In terms of net interest, so I see your methodology where you're taking the AUC and then you're just deriving it. I didn't do it like that. I kind of was a bit more conservative on how I thought they would generate interest income. The only thing I increased was margin from, I think, 83 million last quarter to 100 million because margin balances went up a lot. Securities lending was the same. I actually decreased the interest on cash and segregated securities by like 12, 15 million. Credit card, I kept the same. Cash sweep, I increased by like 7, 8 million. And I get to, after contra revenue, 945 million of revenue.
Got you.
So we're both in the kind of the same ballpark here. The analyst expectations are raised to 938. So we got to beat that number. They raised it like literally on Tuesday.
Roy?
Yeah, so I didn't do calculations. I basically looked at expected numbers. I'm like, yeah, that's about right. There's two things that I think I'm higher on, and then I'd be lower on, and I didn't like put the number. So this is like very napkin math. But bottom line first, I'm gonna say about 960 million. I don't think that they hit the 1 billion mark. Still phenomenal numbers. I think margins will continue to show improvement. Part of that is they launch margin products in the UK, and it seems like, and it just my read on what other people were saying about it, that there was a lot of excitement over that. And so I think that we'll see some growth in that. I don't believe that they launch at the very first part of the quarter, but we'll see a bit of that. And they're also, of course, talked about ending that 1% gold match. They did it partway through the quarter. But with the assets that are transferring over to Robinhood, it seems like those assets under management spiked not just because of the increase in the equities in crypto, but also a lot more people putting money on the platform, which is great. but contra revenue might be a little bit more than expected. So I think in net, that'll actually be more of a drag than I was expecting before. I was like kind of looking at things a little bit deeper, but I didn't crunch the numbers, do the nerd stuff. And part of that too is Robinhood gives us a lot of the monthly numbers. We have all of them, not for every single metric, but they release that on a monthly basis to everybody on their site, which is awesome. But there's also usually fewer surprises.
So we just got new earnings estimates I'm looking at right now. These mother effers, I don't want to curse because it's Saturday morning, but I want to curse so badly. They can't keep getting away with this, bro. Like, what if we miss 950, bro? Like, there's a world where we could miss.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
There's
It's very
absolutely a
possible.
world we could miss 950, and then I think they're setting it up, bro. Like, this is like, it went from 930 to 950 after going from 650 to 850 to 830 to 870 to 900. Like,
Yeah,
Uh,
it's I don't know.
I mean, now, Tanner, you better be right about $1 billion. Otherwise, we're going to miss. Like, my number misses this number at 945.
Yeah, I think that the better rates on crypto is going to surprise Wall Street as well. But you're also probably seeing a lower number on Wall Street because not everyone has revised yet. So there's still probably some estimates in there of people that haven't even put out a new number yet. So that's even probably lower than what you're seeing the average Wall Street analyst looking at right now. They're probably closer to $1 billion.
yeah, they
But
may
where
miss.
are you getting $1 billion from? Because my take rate on crypto is 0.55. Like, like, are you using 0.6 or something?
Well, I have way more money in net. You have more money in transaction-based revenue, but I have more money in net interest revenue as well. Like I'm 400 million. But
Okay, so how do you justify that? Is just pure percentage over? Has the percentage over AUC been accurate for Q3?
yeah. No, it's a pretty steady rate. It's actually been going down, so I kept it similar to Q3, which is a lower number than what you see at Q2, Q1 of this year. So
for Q3, what was the percentage you took on their AUC?
0.18%.
0.18, and that's off 165 billion for Q3.
274 million for net
But
interest
how
revenues.
about how many AUC did you?
Yeah, 152.
Okay, so you're
And
using,
now I'm assuming we're going to 210 at the end of. So I'm saying essentially 58 billion new dollars in assets under custody.
that's actually not that crazy.
No,
Not.
like we saw in November, 194. Like that's excluding the insane ramp up in December. I think it'll probably beat that.
So you're doing 0.18 of 210 billion.
Yeah.
I'm getting 378 million. Why are you getting 420?
Let me see.
Is my calculator wrong? 0.18 of 210 is 378. Pretty sure. Yeah, we were at 195 at the end of December. So
Yeah, I think we're going to 210. My thing is saying 420 right here.
that's wrong. I think 0.18% of 210 billion is 378 million. So if you that would
In last quarter, what does it show you for last quarter at 1.18? 274?
Yes, 274. Let me make sure what they had. They had.
Can you guys throw up a chart so that folks can
course.
see what you're talking about?
Robinhood put up exactly 274 million off of net interest income last quarter. That was 0.18% of 152 billion. That literally gets you exactly 274.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 0.18 of 210 is 378. It's not 420.
Okay, well maybe this is.
So that would lower your projections by 50 million, Tanner. You're back at 950 with me. You just lost 50 million.
No. Okay, let's say 0.2 then.
But can we really increase the take rate like that? Like, is it?
If we look back at.
Yeah, 0.2 gets you there. 0.2 gets you there.
if we look back at all of 2023, it was at 0.27, 0.29.
But
So-
last quarter it was 0.18.
Yeah, which is the lowest point since Q2 of 2022.
I would assume it goes lower because we cut rates again, right?
Yeah, but we're also in new products now. Like there was no credit card back then. There was no
Credit card's not going to grow. It's going to be maybe another million. We did 4 million last quarter. Maybe it'll do 5 million, 6 million.
Yeah, I actually don't think that's true. I think that credit card will grow.
No,
I
but
think that
people haven't got their credit cards. No one's
yeah,
getting.
but what you're looking at is so one, people are getting their credit cards, so it is going to grow.
But not dramatically. Not like, it's like maybe a couple thousand people, tens of thousands, maybe.
No, you're talking about like 25,000 new people per. What did they say per month?
I thought that was signing up on the wait list, not actually getting.
No, it's 200,000 per month is on the wait list.
They're never going to get to that wait list.
I'm going off of the head of credit's investor day comments that says exponential growth will happen in 2025. Right now, they're still cohort analysis, experimenting.
Yeah. All I'm saying is the reason why it went down last quarter is because they're getting rid of a lot of the X1 cards. So that's from their old book. Like they didn't get 4 million the first time that they offered the Robinhood card. Those are all X1 users. So they're writing down X1 users and then pumping up.
Yeah, but regardless, credit cards doesn't get us there. I mean, maybe you assume another 10 million, which is ambitious for 15.
No. All I'm saying is securities lending is going to be Securities lending is going to be much higher. Margin is going to go through the roof. Credit cards is going to play an impact. I think that honestly, I'm not actually looking at rates. I think they're going to grow much faster than that.
I mean, I did my numbers. I added more to cash sweep. I added 20 million more to margin. I took away 8 million from the interest just to be conservative. Also, you have to subtract that 6 million from interest expenses. I don't get 420, dude. I feel like 420 is aggressive.
It could potentially be. I didn't do it on a per segment basis. I just think the assets under custody, if you're looking at quarter over quarter over quarter, it doesn't line up with this quarter. This quarter is a massive breakout. We've gone up by 10. Like from Q1 of 2024, we went up by 10 billion. The next quarter, we went up by 12 billion. This quarter, we're going to go up by 50 billion. But
in December, when we had 194 billion AUC, that extra 15 billion, where is that coming
194 was not in December. That was November's numbers. They didn't give us December numbers.
Got you. That makes sense, actually.
So that's why I think December is going to continue to add on more.
No, yeah, you're right. We're definitely adding 15 billion in December. Just through deposits, we would probably get a third of that.
So on this quarter, analyst expectations are really, really high. There is a chance that Robinhood doesn't surpass that, especially if they keep raising it. They have until Wednesday. But I think that the number that's actually going to be more interesting is they have a chance this quarter, not next quarter, because it comps higher, and there's also the legal fees, to hit that 100% revenue year over year. So last year, they hit 481 million. So 962 million is a number to beat. And it sounds like that all of our projections are just slightly under. Is that right? Or are you above that, Tanner?
Say that again. Sorry, I was reading.
962 million is a number they have to hit to get the 100% year over year revenue. Now, that's psychological, like the difference between 93 and 100. It's like, whatever. It's amazing. So is your number still, Tanner, ahead of that 962 million, or are you saying okay? Yeah, and Amit and
I'm not changing my my projections here. I think that assets under custody could come in higher than I expect.
Yeah.
I think that the crypto take rate could come in much higher than I suspect. I think that the other segment, I didn't add on any events contracts or.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's another. Yeah.
That's another 5 million.
Yeah.
So there's areas where I am being conservative.
Did you subtract contra revenue in yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 47 million.
You did 47. I did 41. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, we should come in at 950 to 975 on the high end, maybe $1 billion. But I think even with these analyst upgrades, we should we should beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, worst case scenario, and we saw this 3 times last year, that they have a phenomenal double beat, crush the market, and the stock price tanks. And that was frustrating at the time, but it was also amazing if you were looking to add more.
Yeah. You know.
Ironically, last time they missed on revenue because of the
Yeah.
contra.
No,
And that was a bit of a surprise. I don't think that they set that up well, and they should have done it differently. But at least now we know going forward what they were expecting, what we're looking at, and yet the stock didn't sell off hard. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I think they really explained the contra revenue for next quarter, like meaning Q4. So I don't think that will be as big of a surprise. They said that it was going to grow as much as it grew from Q2 to Q3, which I think was 13 million. Or yeah, something like that. So I think that it'll be 13 million higher than last quarter.
Okay, so we're all kind of in agreement that 950 could be achieved. Is there any world in which we're underestimating the amount of gold subscribers they got? I mean, they added 120,000 in a week alone in December.
So they added up. It was kind of interesting the way that they released that. And also be sure you put this in the numbers if you didn't. The Dogecoin at the very end of the year, and then they gave out some Bitcoin in January for the first. But I saw people telling me, I mean, that maybe they were lying, but I doubt it. In December, even though it was not gold only, that they were signing up for Robinhood Gold. They're just like, hey, this is cool. I'm going to sign up for Robinhood Gold. Like, cool. And then they got some Bitcoin the day after. So that was nice for them. So yeah, I think that on the consumer side, there's been 3 things that have really happened. One is the markets have been ridiculously hot, especially in November. December was also very, very good. Crypto likewise had a pretty good bump. I've seen sentiment changing towards Robinhood. There's still some people that are very have a lot of animosity towards Robinhood and Vlad, and that's fine. They can do that. But I've also seen a lot of people shift and change their mind and just say, hey, it's an awesome platform. I want in on this. We've seen them launch a couple new products on UK, hopefully ISAs and SIPs this next year. But yeah, with all those, I don't know. I think that they continue to accelerate the gold adoption. That what is it called? The something rate, attachment rate of gold has continued to go up, and I think that will continue.
It's better on the new cohorts too. Like the amount that they have on the total user base is something like 9%. But Vlad Tenev had said that the new cohorts that are coming onto the platform are like 20+%. So if that continues to go even higher, if that gets to 30% or something like this with all the new initiatives that they've tried in this quarter, like that could be a real surprise to the upside as well.
Yeah, I like that they're right there. Great comment. Appreciate you putting those numbers in the chat. Like, there's a chance that we're looking at 10%, so which is phenomenal.
Yeah. And he wants to get it to 50+%.
Yeah,
that's the end game.
Yeah, like in my model, I assumed no change in other revenues. So 44 million, same 44. If that comes in at like 47, 48, wouldn't surprise me. I assumed nothing in credit card. I assumed nothing in securities lending. I assumed a decrease in interest on cash and segregated securities. And for crypto, I had 360 million. That's my big one, which I think is very possible. And that could be conservative if my take rate is low, but I think my take rate is relatively normal here.
360 for crypto is aggressive.
Dude, I mean, if you assume, so they did 70 billion in trading volumes. We have that number pretty accurately. I think I assumed, 0.52 on that? What do I do? Yeah, basically, I assumed 0.50. 0.50. The last time their take rate was 0.42. They said no, it was 0.44 on average. I think they got that extra 0.6.
I mean, maybe. I'm seeing some people say, like I think Joshua was reporting on this, and he's saying, oh, their crypto rates are skyrocketing in January and everything, but it's impossible to know. Like the way that they roll this out, and we've seen this 100 different ways, they will try out new pricing on 1% of their cohorts or a certain segment of people. So to take your individual data and try to say that that's what they got across all of crypto. It's like, that's very hard for me. I can't imagine that that's the big. So what I'm trying to say is, during that call with Jason, whenever he said, hey, we're trying out these rates and we're not seeing people fall off, trying out what, 5%, 10% of people, 100%?
But the trade December was wild for crypto, dude, and November with Bitcoin getting to 100. Like, even with experiments in different cohorts, I still
Yeah,
think
but we don't speculate on the trading volume. We know what the trading volume is.
yeah. So what I'm saying is, if they had so much more trading volume, if they wasn't 5 or 10%, if it was 20% in this geography, you know what I'm saying? If there was a way that they really did increase the level of experimentation with that take rate, and no one cared because people just wanted to buy crypto, right? It's not like people were nitpicking here and there. They just wanted to get into the Solana, Bitcoin, etc.
Yeah, so I have 0.44 on crypto. So if that goes way higher, that is pushing me to even higher highs.
Well, so I assume more on crypto, less on interest. You assume way more on interest, less on crypto. So one of us is going to be right, or both of us are wrong.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can both be right. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day,
if we're both right, this is
no. What I mean is the end game is the same. If we assume that Robinhood is getting to close to $1 billion in net revenue, we both win.
yes.
You know,
yes.
just being positive on the company, or they both have skyrocketed here and we are wrong on assets under custody and on their take rate on crypto, which will, like, that's going to be one of those times where we all said, like, oh, 3 cents of EPS, and then they put out 18 or whatever, and we're like, oh my God, like, just, you have to stand up and walk away from the table. Like, who knows? The problem with those quarters, we only saw 2 months out of the 3 months. We've seen all 3 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we've only seen a little bit of color in December. We're not seeing funded accounts. We're not seeing assets under custody. There's a lot extra here.
And the real unknown, and I think it might be more important than earnings, simply because they don't do product launches in earnings. We know what most of the numbers are. They're going to be amazing, and they don't do guidance. Is January's numbers, and they usually hint at them, and then they'll give the full release, shortly after earnings itself. I think that's going to be more impactful than anything else they say, unless they shift and start giving guidance, which I don't see a reason to. What they're doing is working. So,
yeah.
So let's talk about this. The stock itself. Do you think it's pricing in way too much, up 40% this year?
Yeah, this year, but this month. It's a lot. It definitely is. And there's reasons for it, though. And I want to talk about crypto January volumes, website traffic for January. Things are looking strong for the new year. But it is a lot. I'm not currently adding right now, unlike you, Amit. You're doing.
Dude, I'm buying, baby. I'm buying.
Every week, DCA. That's what I got. That way I don't have to worry about the price too much. I'm trying to increase the amount of Robinhood that I have. And it's the way I look at it is, like, if my conviction is higher than my percent allocation, then I need to look for an opportunity to increase it. And some names like Tesla, I'm like, not buying right now. I think it can fall a little bit further. Robinhood, I'm like, this name, also like HIMS, it's gone up a ridiculous amount, and they're executing at a very, very high level, and there's no movement that's going to shock me. Like, I'm actually I was thinking yesterday, I was like, I usually sell covered calls even into earnings, and I'm like, man, I don't even know if I want to do that. Even at, like, I think 75 is the highest. I'm like, is there a chance that Robinhood breaks through 75? Yes. Is there a chance that Robinhood falls to $30? Yes. And that's crazy.
I think 75 is higher than 30, though. I think the street, even though it could happen, I think 40 would be more max pain, 42, 43. I think the street's recognizing Robinhood as, like, one of the only financial services companies that can grow and innovate. And they're starting, like, it's not Palantir, but they're thinking of Palantir as the only AI software name that can grow. And so they're giving it a crazy premium. With Robinhood, we do have the growth to justify it. That makes the premium actually look not that crazy at all, especially given they have $1 billion in buybacks. But if the street keeps thinking that, with S&P inclusion around the horizon and new products that March, we should probably get a new gold event. Like, I think this thing's going to get bid up, and all the analysts are going to increase their expectations, and I think we go higher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's the thing is like with some of the names that we have, people are like, well, valuation is getting pretty up there, and there's a lot of like concern not about the company but about the valuation. I don't see any of that with Robinhood, even
No.
though like PE, yeah, it's pretty extreme, but they're growing ridiculously. They're perceived as a leader in this field, innovator. They're accelerating, not decelerating. So um, anything can happen this quarter. I'm prepared either way. If it and my dream scenario is phenomenal earnings and the stock just crashes. That'd be so good. Frustrating short term, but those sort of opportunities in a quality company where it's kind of a silly thing for them to crash. And in this case, it might just be like expectations for the street has just gotten so high that they're like, oh, well, we didn't like this. So that would be amazing. I don't think it's going to happen, but get prepared either way.
you know what? Like, there's not a lot of companies that you can hope for amazing earnings and then for them to crash down the next day that they open. Robinhood's one of them.
Yes.
It will let you buy great earnings and feel like you haven't missed anything. It'll make you question, what do you what's the rest of the world reading that I'm not? No, they'll just put out unbelievable earnings and then crash.
Yeah.
Can we talk about website traffic really quickly?
Yes. Let's talk about that. Yeah.
So there's really two names that I've been looking at that have surprised to the upside for website traffic for January, and that is Robinhood and SoFi. SoFi doing some amazing things here. This is probably TGL in their efforts over there. But Robinhood creeping up even more month over month, December to January, was something that we really didn't see across the board from other fintechs. So if we take a look at Coinbase, for example, if we want to say that this is crypto strength, well, usually you would see that in their competitor for Coinbase. So we're not seeing that, which makes me feel like there's other products that are also or other marketing efforts that are actually allowing them to see higher website traffic without the need for just strength in crypto, which still does show up, like these random strong quarters in March and then continuing November, December. This is crypto. You can kind of align that with Coinbase.
Yeah, they really opened up their marketing spin this year, and I'm seeing a lot of ads here in the States on Robinhood, more than any other fintech at all. And part of it probably search history, but I'm wondering if part of that too is that Robinhood Legend platform. That does that. Is this just monitoring Robinhood.com or all domains?
Yes, Robinhood.com.
Okay, so I guess not. Then.
Yeah, Robinhood.com as well as their associated app.
Okay, yeah. All right, so the whole thing. Legend is probably a factor there too. They talked a little bit about it last quarter, so I'd like to see that continue to climb. And
now more spend for sales and marketing. That wasn't a 2025 effort, though, right? That was talk for 2024.
Yeah.
So potentially it's continued. I think that's the only thing that they do give guidance on is what they potentially want to spend in the year. So we're gonna get 2025 OpEx, which is nice. Do you think it's a
replication? Do you think they're going to repeat?
I think they're going to be more aggressive. I think they're going to be more aggressive. I think across the board, you're going to see this from Coinbase, SoFi, essentially every fintech name. You're going to see them be more aggressive on sales and marketing. I think they're out of the hump. Rates are coming down, and they feel like they can capture some more market share.
Yeah, I mean, we also got Bitstamp closing, Trade PMR closing. Well, that's another thing. Did Trade PMR close in December? Because that's 40 billion of AUC that I don't think we've added yet. I imagine it closes first half of 2025, so maybe we don't see that in Q4. Bitstamp as well, but futures aren't live yet. So there is a lot of stuff that they're probably going to really want to harp on, and sales and marketing is probably going up.
You think Bitstamp's first half 2025?
Yeah, I would say by June it happens.
Okay.
I would say that's close.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be more institutional volumes. Just like, I wonder also how they're going to explain how they report the business now, because they're going to have to show index options and futures potentially in a separate category, or do they just mix that into options? Sports contracts, how do they show that? Like, is that just gonna be other? So
yeah, it'd be nice to have it all together in the one graph, and then the breakout numbers in the appendix.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, right? I don't think we covered this. Sports betting, we got very excited on this. We were, I think, all a little cautious about the potential that this is not going to. I think maybe Amit was maybe the most optimistic, but taken away the day after we did our live stream. So we just sat on that for a week. No more sports betting.
Not
You think this
for
comes
now.
back?
For now.
For now.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise. I figured, and you can see like the way that they worded this in their post on X. It was a bit of a surprise for Robinhood themselves. I don't think they would have rolled it out otherwise. So this may take a couple of months to resolve, but that's in time for some other major events. It would be great if March Madness, if it was available then. It's not a full suite of sports betting, but maybe it's something that they just can't do under the current framework, or they have to figure out an alternative way to do that legally. This wasn't. It would have added to revenue, but it's not. I don't think it would have been as big as the election betting. That was pretty insane.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be as large, but I do think that the category in general is like a large enough add to Robinhood's business that they are going to separate it from their other revenue, if that makes sense. Look at my puppy.
Is that a new puppy?
No, I've had her for a while.
Dude, I've never seen her on your stream.
Raina, come here. Up.
I've only seen the cat.
Raina. Oh. Yeah, what a good girl.
Wow. I need to get a puppy, bro.
We've had her for a while.
I don't know what the CTFTC C4C is. I don't know what they are. I don't know what the hell they do.
C3PO. That's what it is.
Dude, I was getting a manicure on Tuesday, okay? And then I see this notification while I'm getting my manicure. CTFC stops Robinhood derivative. I'm like, what the fuck is who are these people? And so I think this is going to be short-lived. I think Hood's going to make some calls to the Trump administration, remind them they put in $2 million into that inaugural fund, and they're going to get some hopefully influential people to tap other people at the CTC47 FTC on the shoulder and be like, come on, like golden age of America, baby. We're not going to stop Super Bowl contracts.
Yeah. Also, what was it? The FDIC came out this week as well and said that they have been looking back on their crypto sort of restrictions, and they want to sort of relook those, lighten up, and be a little bit more friendly to financial institutions and help them get a clearer roadmap to setting up crypto that could also be safe for consumers. I think that we are going into a golden age in terms of products that should be available to consumers. As long as that there's the disclosures, adults should be able to do what adults want to do. Now, I don't know if this has anything to do with the age restrictions or anything. I know that we talked about this between 18 years old to potentially trade in derivatives markets, 21 to do sports gambling in most states, I think. Is that a potential factor here?
I haven't read through the filings. I have no idea why they made. I think Robinhood could have said no, screw you, but they didn't want to bark up the wrong tree, and they were just like, we're just not going to fight this right now. I don't know, maybe because they didn't go after Kalshi, so I don't know why they're going after Robinhood unless they think Robinhood's a brokerage and it shouldn't be mixed with sports betting. Which brings up the broader question. Karan right here in the chat says they should make a separate app for betting. Dan Dolev, one of the biggest bulls on Hood, raised them to 65 on Friday and said, we think there's a real good shot that sports betting ends up becoming a thing for Hood. So what do you guys think? Should they incorporate it into the app or stay away from it?
Well, I think that they should definitely have part in it. They have customers that wanted it. And if they can create some sort of product similar to Robinhood Connect, where they can allow for seamless fund transactions to Robinhood betting app to the Robinhood brokerage app, put it in a separate app. Who cares?
Probably what they're going to do is just launch one of these successfully that are related to sports, see what the reception is as far as people actually using it and enjoying it. And if there seems like that there's enough people that are like, hey, we love this feature, we want more of it, they'll cater to that. I think the one thing that they're not going to do, and I did see some comments in as far as like partnering with Kalshi or DraftKings and like moving some of that off, Robinhood would not want to do that just because it would actually be moving assets off of their platform potentially. So I don't see that. But my guess is, yeah, let's run one or two of these. Robinhood's pretty aggressive, maybe just one. If the Super Bowl had actually worked out, then that might have been it for the pilot phase, and expand it from there, or just say, hey, maybe just Super Bowls.
I don't think Robinhood is too against moving assets off their platform. The reason why I say that, I know that sounds crazy, but Robinhood Connect is a thing, and they just, like Vlad was just promoting that for Moonshot, I think it is, that 22 million users can now transact or transfer money from Robinhood over to Moonshot to then play in, smaller degen plays in the crypto space. I don't know how else to put it. Like, it's
They are, yeah.
Meme coins and shit coins.
With a name like Moonshot, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. But they're happy to set that up and just take their rate and transfer a little bit of assets off their platform.
Hey Tanner, when you were talking about the press release, was that SEC, FDIC? Like, what organization was it that you mentioned that was moving away from the regulation, heavy regulation?
FDIC.
Okay, so this week also CFTB, which is the same organization that slapped Robinhood, on February 4th, they announced something very similar as well. And they said that they're actually reorganizing to combat fraud and help victims while ending the practice of regulation by enforcement. And I found that pretty ironic given what happened with the election betting. It was actually on the exact, or not the election betting, the sports betting. It was on the same day. And I was like, okay, so which is it?
Yeah, I think the Trump deregulation stuff is not here yet. I mean, IPOs aren't back, M&A is not back, so it might take a little bit of time before we get there. Tanner, can you give us the EPS estimate that you have?
I'll have to.
Diluted shares, I think, is 942 million is the number you need.
I thought it was like 905 million.
Fully diluted, or?
I'll have to check.
Let me tell you. So diluted shares. Oh yeah, we're at 918.
Okay.
918, that's our number.
Sorry, go ahead. I'll have to do that real quick.
Roy, what do you think about Doliv's argument about 65 based on he interviewed 100 Robinhood investors or users and said 2/3 of them would be likely to use something like Hood because they already use DraftKings? Like, do you think it's the right industry to get into?
I mean, I don't think that they should go off of this. I think that they really need to run a couple of these events contracts that are geared towards sports betting. Super Bowl would have been good, but I'd also like them to do like a smaller one just to see if there's any kind of adoption at all for that. The mega events certainly, but I don't mind them offering it and offering access, but I don't think that 2/3 of Robinhood users would actually do that. You know, a lot of times, and this is like a very, very small sample size. It's not a scientific study or anything like that. But I don't know. It's fine if they offer it. I'd like to see them just kind of see how it goes with something smaller than the Super Bowl. And if the excitement is there, why not add that? But like a full platform like DraftKings or something, no.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't think they really care about sports betting. I think it's getting a little hyped up, and that's not their mission. I do think sports contracts is a world where they see growth, but I don't know if they want to be like allowing you to bet on how many touchdowns or how many yards Mahomes is going to throw for, right? But like general Super Bowl, Chiefs versus Eagles, I think that they want to get into that. But in general, we did see Vlad tweet a while ago that as news becomes the markets become the news, and he's kind of following that idea that people want to bet on stuff. I just don't know how deep they're going to get into it, but they need new avenues of growth, right? Like we need new ways to diversify revenue, and this is a really easy way. I mean, like sports are not as cyclical as the market, right? So I don't hate it. I just don't know if they're really going to go after it.
Yeah, I'm interested. Sorry, I'm thinking about EPS here. So I took my numbers and plugged it in, and I'm getting closer to about 35 cents, which is below consensus. So I'm wondering what Wall Street's seeing that I'm not, because I've got a pretty high margin here. I've got a a way higher amount of net income. So either they're expecting some massively large increase in margin that I'm just not understanding, or there's some sort of one-time expense that I'm not thinking of. Can you guys think of what that is? Because I'm looking at like a 28% margin, getting $290 million of
net income.
Unless they have a lot of tax losses from prior quarters that I'm not aware of, and then they take that. I don't know. I was thinking that there might be a chance. Like that EPS number looked high to me. I didn't crunch the numbers, but
right,
very high.
Yeah, they did last quarter in net income, 150 million.
Yeah, 150 million, 188 before that. And I'm seeing closer to like 290 this quarter. If you look at like a 29% net income margin, which would be record setting for them.
Yeah, last quarter was 24%. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is weird. What is it? I don't know, dude. I don't know what the street's thinking. They're expecting 44 cents.
So let's just see what type of margin. So let's do their math really quickly. So they said what, 950 million in revenue?
Yeah.
Okay.
950 times 0.29. Yeah, that would be 275.
So I don't know. Like you're looking at really, really high percentages here.
Are we supposed to be dividing by not the full share count? Is that what changes it? In that case, we would be dividing by 884 versus 918.
No, it's fully diluted. It's EPS is fully diluted.
Okay, so it has to be. Yeah, right.
Is the margin your take rate or your margin is increasing? I'm assuming for quarter 4. Is that correct? Or
yep. Yeah,
okay,
to the highest rate they've ever seen. So Q3 was a little bit of a drop off. So it went from 27.5 down to 23.5. I'm saying it goes back up and beats their highest at 28.5%, which I'm not even 100% sure that would happen. Well, obviously, they did a lot of growth, but there was a lot of new initiatives as well.
Yeah,
to get that growth.
But 90% of their costs are fixed, so maybe the market is just giving them even more margin.
I think the market is assuming more crypto, and that's where they get the higher net income number. So you may be right on the revenue estimate, Tanner, but you're assuming it from net interest. If the market's assuming it from crypto, they're definitely going to smash the EPS number because our margin on crypto is just way better than.
Yeah, they're essentially assuming about a 45% net income margin.
That's aggressive, bro.
That's really aggressive.
I'm really bullish for this quarter, bro, but I mean, it's just that's a lot of shit they're expecting.
Yeah, I honestly prefer going into earnings the opposite when expectations are low and price action has matched it. It's like, oh, that's a nice setup. It's fine, but
aggressive. You can't keep getting away with this.
Exactly. They keep raising. Like, what are they going to do? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, on
but it's very clear. Like, you can see it in the price action. You can see that in the price targets as well. You can see that in the way that the street talks about Robinhood. There's the excitement is palpable on this one, and it's not just about the one quarter. That you have to keep that in mind. Like, say that they do a double miss. That's a possibility. It's a very realistic possibility. Still ridiculous numbers. If the stock price comes down, that's going to get bought up.
Yeah, I'm looking at 905.5 million shares. So I checked the not even 918. So I'm looking at weighted average common shares outstanding diluted, which is what we're supposed to be looking at. And then on $950 million of revenue, they want 428 million to get to 47 cents. So wait, what is it? 45 cents?
44 cents. Yeah, I mean, maybe they're expecting cost cutting somewhere else, but it's hard to assume.
So about of a 42.5% net income margin, $400 million of net income.
Dude, they're gonna have to pull off a Palantir type of quarter. Just like
That's not a Palantir, dude. That is way.
no. What I mean is by expectations. Like no one expected Palantir to grow at 36%. Like this, like they're gonna have to.
All right.
31.
All right, but they're going from quarter over quarter. Actually, year over year, they're going from 30 million to 400 million.
Yeah, that's huge growth. But like if the streets are like people like analysts were expecting 770 million on Palantir's revenue, and they brought in 828. If analysts are expecting 950 million, we've got to beat that number, which obviously is an incredible quarter, but we got to beat that. And then on EPS, analysts were expecting like 5 cents for Palantir, and we got like if they're expecting 44 cents on.
Are we saying what we all are thinking right now? Can I say it?
What?
I think that this might be a great buying opportunity quarter.
That's what I'm
that
hoping.
this is going to tank.
That's what I'm hoping. Great numbers. Give me
unless Vlad swings it out of the park.
The problem is that I haven't read
away. Like
I haven't read a report for Wall Street this quarter. And so if there is something that we're just completely missing, I'd love to know. You know?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll see, guys. I mean, the good thing about this one is I'm not in short dated calls. I don't need the stock to be above a certain level I don't really care. So if it goes down, I'll buy. If it doesn't, okay. You know, so to me, it's not really that scary, but guess we're going to see Wednesday.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for us. These are the numbers that we have. For those that joined at the end, you can go to the beginning. Basically, all of us are assuming around 945 at the minimum to $1 billion on the top line on revenue. And then based on Tanner's numbers, I would agree with him. Around 35 cents of EPS. Street wants 44, so we'll see where that comes in. All right, we'll be live on Wednesday. We'll be streaming it on all 3 of our channels, and it'll be a fun earnings in video.
Can I highlight one thing? Sorry, I just want to add one more piece, is that this happened last quarter as well. They said, hey, our numbers were fantastic. Wall Street didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
So this could be similar to last quarter of blown out expectations, and that was only by 1 cent. So who knows? I hope it's by 1 cent. I hope we get 43 cents.
Oh, that'd be so good. If 43 cents and we get just slightly under for revenue, stock goes back to the mid 40s. Yes, please.
Yeah, because if January's data is good and the stock goes back to 40s, just like what happened in October,
yeah.
I mean, that's really an easy.
Given what we've seen in the markets, I have a hard time seeing January numbers as not being good. Markets have done well. Crypto has done well. There's been a ridiculous amount of volatility. I don't know what they've got from the Trump coin or anything. We got, but it's set up pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we'll end it out on this super chat. Marco, thank you for the $50. Appreciate you, brother. I don't have a specific question or need a shout out. Just wanted to say thank you. I've made a lot of money with Hood because of you guys. Palantir, Hood, SMCI. I love it. Hopefully we all continue to make money on Hood going into this quarter. But if there's a dip, it's up 40%. We all probably are mature enough to realize stocks can be volatile. But if it goes higher and they like really do swing it out of the park, this is a next generation company with a paradigm shift that is getting re-rated that potentially has S&P inclusion coming up. So it could be a very, very exciting year for Hood.
Yeah, and it could go either way. It's exciting.
All right.
Crazy.
Good stuff. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys on Wednesday for the earnings stream. Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.